Hey, what's up guys, Drip Drop here, and today we're going to be ranking every Ocarina of Time dungeon from worst to best. I'm going to be doing the main 9, so that includes the 3 child ones, the 5 adult ones, and Ganon's Tower at the end. I will kind of touch on some of the weirdo shit, like the Ice Cavern and the bottom of the well and the Gerudo hideout fortress prison thing. I'll include those with each dungeon, so like I'll talk about the Ice Cavern a little bit more when we talk about the water. I'll talk about the bottom of the well when we talk about the Shadow Temple, and so on. Just to, because I just don't really think that they really deserve their own spot on this list, so I just thought it'd be a little bit more simple just to do it that way. But let's get into the criteria. There's not a whole lot of criteria. It's just pretty much the basic stuff you can think of, but I always like to say it. Puzzles, enemies, like design, like layout, atmosphere, the boss, the dungeon item, like pretty much anything you can think of will be pretty much taken into consideration here. But I do just always like to give out my criteria so people don't think I'm just yapping about absolutely nothing. But it's pretty much, obvious shit, pretty much. And one more thing I do want to say is if you watched my Ocarina of Time playthrough, a lot of my opinions have changed and swapped around quite a bit. When I first beat this game, which I played this game blind on my channel for the first time, I kind of had some gripes with it a little bit, and I kind of said that I think this game will get a lot better on a second playthrough, and it absolutely did. So, I did replay the game for a second time. I played it on an old CRT TV, which greatly increased my enjoyment of the game anyway. And once I knew what to do, actually doing it was so much fun. My biggest complaints from my first playthrough were just kind of trying to figure out what to do wasn't exactly the most fun thing for me to do. But on my second playthrough, once I actually knew what to do and how to do the dungeons, actually doing them was really fun. So I'll try to kind of take both perspectives in when talking about these dungeons, like from a first-time playthrough and a second time. But my opinions did change quite a bit from that series. So if you're kind of watching this and you're like, what the fuck happened? That is what happened. But I got some hot takes. I got some cold takes. If you want to find out what they are, then let's get into the list. A 1, a 2, a skiddly-diddly-doo. Coming in at number 9, dead last, is Ganon's Tower. And the more and more I think about this tower, it fucking pisses me off, man. Why the fuck is the last dungeon in the game by far the worst and just leaves a nasty, just bad impression? Like, it's not super terrible. Like, the atmosphere is really cool. The part where the tower crumbles is cool. And the final phase of the final boss is really cool, like against the dual sword Ganon. I mean, I just kind of beat him by nutting on him. I mean... I beat him by throwing Deku Nuts at him. I didn't even know I was supposed to hit him with light arrows until, like, the very end. And I gotta hit him with this wacky-ass hammer because he knocked my sword out of my hand. It was just a weird... It was cool and badass, but it was just a weird thing to do. But the actual tower itself, the dungeons. So let me get this straight. So obviously it has the 5 medallions. So obviously you're going to think that you have to go in order and it's going to progress in difficulty with each room, right? That makes sense to me. So you think that you would do the forest part first, right? And then you can. And that makes sense to me. So then you think that you would go and then do the fire part as the second room. That makes sense to me. So then you go in and you try to do the fire part. Well, that's not the right dungeon order. Well, what the fuck then? So you're supposed to go find some random item in the Shadow Temple room for some reason and get an upgrade to your gauntlet hands, which you just previously got an upgrade for in the previous fucking dungeon. Why the fuck would I be looking for a gauntlet upgrade when I just got a gauntlet upgrade? I didn't even know gauntlet upgrades were in this game, but I just got one, and now you're telling me I was supposed to go find another one? Like, what the fuck are you? This is goofy as fuck. And then why is it in the Shadow Temple of all areas? Like, if it was in the Spirit Temple, at least that'd make sense because they correspond, but it was in the Shadow Room? Why? And then, bro, it's just like, so I spent so much time trying to beat that fire puzzle, only for me to find out that I needed to go in some random bumpfuck ass other room to get an item. And it's like, okay, whatever. And then the rooms themselves aren't even that cool. So on top of that frustrating ass, stupid ass solution, it's just not fun to do in general. It's just lame as fuck. Like and then let's get into Ganon's first phase. If you don't have enough mana, you can't beat the fight. That is so trash. That is so trash. Like, I understand that Link to the Past did that too, and I really love Link to the Past, but it is so much worse than Ocarina of Time. I don't care. It is horrible because you gotta go all the way back up the tower. You gotta go on a fucking journey to get back to that fight, and it's not even the whole fight. That's just the first phase. I mean, like, god damn. Like, man, like his last phase is probably the coolest and best boss in the game, but that first phase is probably the worst. So coming in at the worst dungeon is Ganon's Tower. Kind of sucks to leave the game on a sour note, but at least it ends with the best boss at the very end. So, I mean, you get what you get. It's a bittersweet finale. Coming in at number 8, we got the Great Deku Tree, and honestly, it's a really good sign that this is coming in as the last dungeon, because truthfully, I don't even really consider Ganon's dungeon or Ganon's Tower to be a dungeon. I always think of the 3 mini-kid dungeons, and I think of the 5 adult dungeons, 8 dungeons. I feel like that's how most people think of the dungeons. So the Deku Tree coming in as the real last dungeon is honestly a good thing, because that pretty much says, okay, this game starts off with a good dungeon, and it just gets better and better and better and better and better, because even though this is at number 8, I still think it's a great starter dungeon. I just think the game improves on it even more so, you know, because this kind of has to be simple. It can't be too complicated. It's not too complex. It's just for beginners trying to learn how to play the game, trying to figure out how the puzzles work, how to do the solutions. It's nice and compact. It's not too big. It's just pretty simple, like I said, and I think that this dungeon does it really well. I like the whole, like, plant-based, you know, like it's inside of a tree, but it's like nice greenery, kind of rotten wood kind of around. The enemies are plant-based and spider and bug-based. I think that's pretty cool, like pretty insect vibes kind of going on in here. Like I said, the scenery is just really good. The atmosphere is great. The boss is cool. It kind of frustrated me when I did it my first time, because the D-pad was acting wonky with that slingshot when I did it the first time. But the second time I kicked the spider's ass. As you're supposed to, because it is the first boss. I was just fumbling really bad my first playthrough. It was kind of embarrassing, I'm not gonna lie. But overall, I think it's just a cool dungeon. There's some cool set pieces. I really like shooting the ladder down to climb the ladder. I thought that was a pretty cool solution. One part that I don't like about this dungeon too much is there's a lot of climbing, and the climbing is pretty slow. So if you keep missing that spider web jump part, you'll have to keep climbing back up, which takes like a long ass time. And if you keep missing it, then you just got to keep climbing. I know it's kind of a skill issue, but I mean, that is a flaw to me. It's like they definitely should have thought about that. I mean, because climbing is just not fun gameplay, especially if the spiders respawn and you got to hit them with the slingshot again. It just kind of gets irritating. But apart from that, this is still a really good dungeon, even though it's coming in at number 8. Coming in at number 7, we got Inside Jabu Jabu's Belly, and I know that this dungeon is widely considered the worst, and it is hated on. And I was kind of hating on it a little bit too, but I eventually came around on Jabu Jabu's Belly, because even though it is gross and disgusting, it is such a cool and unique concept. You got all these muscles and tissues and tendons, and you got the infections in his immune system, and you got to take out the virus kind of parasites. It's just such a cool concept. You get the boomerang in here, which honestly you don't really get to use that much, because once you become an adult you lose the boomerang, but it's cool while you can use it here. The boss, I kind of shit-talked it on my playthrough, but once I understood how it worked and defeating him, it was actually pretty cool. I kind of like Barnade. And he had a cool death animation, too. It was pretty fucking gross, though, but he had a really cool death animation. And using the princess to kind of carry her around and use her on like weighted pressure plates to open up doors and switches, but also being able to use her to destroy the bubbles. It was pretty cool, and while it is annoying if you lose her and you got to go back and pick her up every time, I did think it did make a unique solution to the puzzles of like, okay, how do I get her across here with this water here? How do I use her to hit this switch and carry her here and here? And how do I get her here? It was just a pretty cool concept. Like, you can't take her this way because the only way to get up this way is by climbing, so you got to go this way and around this way. And I don't know, I just thought it was pretty cool. The octopus mini boss kind of pissed me off, but once I realized how to do him, he was pretty cool too. And I don't know, I just thought that there was some interesting stuff here. There are some frustrating parts. Especially some of the enemies are kind of annoying here. Like, some of them jellyfish are fucking irritating. And that one puzzle where you have to use the box as weight to open up that switch, I spent way too long trying to figure out that solution. But overall, I enjoyed my time here. And coming in at number 6, we got Dodongo's Cavern, easily my favorite of the 3 child dungeons. I mean, just the bomb puzzles, just the enemies, the mini bosses, the dungeon boss at the end. I just really like the atmosphere here. It's very creepy. You definitely feel like you're inside of like a big like mountain, or not mountain, but like volcano cave. but you're not really dealing with the lava too much yet, but there is still a little here. So, I mean, it still is the second dungeon, so it can't be too threatening yet, but it definitely does have that unsettling vibe, like, okay, you just left your home village, now you're in the scary kind of overworld, like, there's a lot of monsters out here, like, you kind of have to be careful. Fuck the keys in this level, first and foremost. I hate keys in every Zelda game. I hate them, I fucking hate them. But apart from them, I like the rest of the enemies here, especially the lizard boss fights. I forget the name of them. I think it's Lizalfos or something, but the mini bosses against the twin lizards are really fun. The Dodongo, the little mini Dodongo area where you gotta like attack their tails and then you gotta light all the torches and sneak around them. That part was really cool. The bombs or the BMO statues are cool. And I'm glad that you can kill them in this game, because in Link to the Past you could not, so it was very nice to finally kill those annoying, stupid, bitch-ass motherfuckers. And by far my favorite puzzle in this cavern, by far was the eyeball skull puzzle. That whole set piece of the skull, and you gotta throw the bombs into the eyes, blow up the eyes, and the mouth drops down as a bridge. Oh my god, that was so fucking cool. And just overall, just the whole aesthetic, the whole vibe, just the puzzles, they're really fun. You got the statues that come to life and try to get on your 6. You got that part where you got to blow up all the bombs. And then once it does, that little platform falls down, and then you can use it like a staircase. There's just a lot of cool puzzles here. This is really compact, really well designed. It's not too big, but you'll definitely get lost a few times, and it'll definitely make this place feel bigger than it is. But once you kind of lock in and start paying attention, it's really not too complicated. It's honestly pretty linear, but it's really fun. Starting off the top 5, we got the Spirit Temple. And I know that this is a fan favorite, but honestly, this one didn't really do much for me. Not on either of my playthroughs. I don't know. It's just kind of, it's alright. I mean, it's obviously better than everything we've talked about so far, because these 5 adult dungeons are so far beyond in complexity than anything else that we've mentioned on this list. You can pretty much forget everything else we've talked about, because now we're talking about the big boys now. And this one, while it's still cool and it is still solid, that's all I'd really say. It's just solid. Like, it doesn't do anything that really wows me. My favorite part about this dungeon was like the mirror shield and the light puzzles, but by the time you get the mirror shield, the dungeon's damn near over. You don't really get to do too much. The biggest set piece of this dungeon for me was the big titty statue room, and how like you eventually fall through the ceiling at that part and bust the face open, and that's how you get into the boss. And speaking of the boss, Twin Rova was really cool. The armored knight fights were really cool, both of them. But the main mechanic that everyone seems to dick right about this dungeon, it wasn't really that cool to me, and that's how you have to come here as Child Link first. I didn't really think that was that cool, because playing as Child Link is lame after you've unlocked all these cool new items and abilities, and then you're like, yeah, fuck you, go back to the start of the game when you have nothing. It's like, okay, whatever. And then you pretty much just get nerfed. And it just wasn't that cool to me. Like, it was a cool concept, but like nerfing my entire kit and arsenal just so I can fit in this little tiny ass gap that I'm sure Adult Link could have crawled in anyway was just kind of lame. I don't know. And the vibes and the music, like the aesthetics and the colors, it's just pretty bleak and bland. It has like this really like desert, arid, like Middle Eastern vibe, and it's just not really my favorite vibe in games. To be honest, I only really like sand areas when it's like beachy areas. So just like this whole desert aesthetic, it just doesn't do it for me, unfortunately. Like this rocky kind of deserty dry area, it just didn't do it for me. The Poe chase sequence before the dungeon was really cool. The Gerudo Fortress area was not as cool. I didn't really like the prison escape kind of thing. But overall, I don't know. This dungeon just didn't really do it for me. And you have the bomb chew part, which was just fucking weird. Like, you only had to use the bomb chew like in that one room when you get them. And bomb chew kind of sounds like Sonic Chew, so I automatically hate them. I can't even really think of any enemies from this dungeon. Like, off the top of my head, I can't think of any that are super unique. There's the ones that mimic your movement that you gotta walk into fire, but that's about all I can think of. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's cool. It's definitely better than everything we've talked about so far, like I said. And the puzzles are definitely, like, you definitely got to use some brain power to solve some of these puzzles, but I don't know. I think it's definitely overrated. Coming in at number 4, we got the Fire Temple, and I do just want to get the most negative out of the way first. It's the atmosphere. I think of the 5 adult dungeons, the Fire Temple definitely has the weakest atmosphere, which sucks because the rooms that have lava in it look really cool. Like the steam and the lava and the fire everywhere. Like it looks really cool. But a good portion of these rooms just don't have that. And it looks kind of like, you know, kind of browned out, just kind of bleak, not really super interesting. And that leads to, I would say this is probably the most forgettable of the main 5 dungeons. Like, not that any of these are forgettable, but I feel like this is the one that people kind of think about the least. But when the rooms do have the lava, they look really cool. And the fire enemies are really cool. And now let's get into, like, some of the positives now I'm going to get into here now. Like, the puzzles, I really like the invisible firewall room where when you walk in, like, the fire pops up and you got to dodge the fire. I really like how the aesthetic, or not the aesthetic, of, like, the design of this dungeon. You have to, like, go hit different switches to free the different prisoners hidden around. The item is the hammer. The hammer's pretty fun to use. It kind of has that power, like, that real fucking power dink. I like how layered this temple is. Like, it definitely feels much more complex than the Forest Temple, which was previously before it. Like, this one is definitely a step up, like, in difficulty, in terms of puzzle-wise, in terms of solution-wise. Like, it's just really cool. I like how you have to use the hook shot for the mini-boss. You gotta pull him out of the fire and start beating the piss out of him. That was pretty fun. And just, yeah, overall, this is pretty creative. There's some creative puzzles here. I like the hammers where you got to hit the blocks down and then you drop down. I like the boulder room where you kind of have like that Pac-Man-ass kind of area where you're like kind of running away from ghosts and Pac-Man, kind of like that maze area. That's kind of cool. Obviously, of course, it's boulders instead of ghosts, but you know, you get the metaphor. I like the boss against the dragon. He looks really cool. Gameplay-wise, it's just kind of whack-a-mole against him, which is funny, but, you know, it was a little weird, like, having the super cool, scary dragon that, like, eats people, and it's like, oh, yeah, now just play whack-a-mole with him. Like, it did kind of take away his, like, scare factor a little bit, but it's still cool. I like the whole setup with this dungeon where, like, that kid's dad came in here to help fight with you, and then he ends up getting cooked, and then, he ends up naming his son after you. Like, that whole storyline was really cool. And like I said, I love freeing all the prisoners. They keep trying to sell me this goddamn Goron crop thing. I don't want it. I do not like those green eggs and ham. I do not want them, Sam. I am. They keep trying to sell me on this goddamn tool, and I don't want it. Every single NPC is yapping about this goddamn Goron crop, and I just do not want it. Coming in at the bronze place spot, we got the water temple, and I know this shit is overhated, but it's not that bad. It's fun, okay? It is by far the most complex, complicated, and hard to solve puzzle like dungeon in the game, and I absolutely love it for it. It is so complex. The design is so like intertwined with each other. All the different paths, the way you have to switch the water levels, the way you have to put the boots on to go under, the way you have to do hookshot puzzles. I just love it. I love the layout. I love just how complicated it. I absolutely love it. It is hard to figure out, and I absolutely fucking love that. But there are some downsides, and that is why it is at number 3. Because to be honest, if it wasn't for these 2 things I'm about to mention, this would deadass be number 1. I'm not even lying to you. So number 1 is the N64 version. It takes long to switch boots on and off, on and off, on and off. It's not that big of a deal for me, personally, but I could understand if you're stuck on this temple forever and ever and ever and ever, just doing that all the fucking time while you're also still trying to figure shit out. I can understand, okay, I understand. That can be kind of annoying. I get it. But the other thing is inexcusable, and I have to bring this up. So, we all know that the final boss of the dungeon is trash. It's a fucking meatball and a used condom. It's trash. It's a horrible boss. That and any Morphe, I don't know what the fuck its name. I don't care because it sucks. I want to talk about the Dark Link battle because wow, you walk into the room. It's an infinity room. It goes on forever. There's just a tree. The setting is already immaculate and spectacular, and it just takes you aback. You are in awe. You slowly walk. Drip, 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 and a couple drops. And then you cross the tree. You turn around. Your reflection, albino red piercing eyes dart onto you. It is just a dark shadow of your own being. The soul, the culmination of your being. It fills you with determination. You have to kill this evil doppelganger. and just everything so far about this fight is absolutely peak and is by far the coolest and most awesomest setup and coolest fight in the history of Zelda. And then you go fight him. And oh, brother, this guy stinks! He's terrible. It is the worst boss I have ever had the displeasure of fighting. He is so horrible. The mechanics are so fucking dog shit. It is by far the most disappointing experience I've ever had in a video game. It was tragic. But besides the shitty bosses and the iron boots, this temple is fucking great. I don't understand how people. I get it, like changing the water, but it's like it's a puzzle game, man. Like, of course the puzzles are gonna get harder and gonna get more complex. Like, you're complaining because it's too tricky. You're complaining because your little peanut monkey brain couldn't freaking understand the fact that you had to watch the block rise up when you lifted the water up to the second floor, and then you could hop back down and get the small key underneath the block. Like, that was so easy for me. I'm finding out that people have a lot of problems with that small key. I found it instantly. You just got to pay attention better. I don't know what to tell you. And I also love how using the hook shot, because you're already having the hook shot equipped so much to get around, you can use it as a weapon underground because you can't use your sword. And also the long shot was a really cool upgrade. And just overall, I just really liked this dungeon. The only room I straight up didn't like was that one room with like the water tornadoes, like right after the Dark Link fight, I think it was. When they're like sucking you down like a pit. I'm pretty sure that's where that part was. It's kind of fuzzy, it is kind of hard to remember where everything is. But I don't even know if I touched on like aesthetically, like visually. Like, I love like the quartz kind of building in the middle, mixed with like the rocky terrain, like underwater submerged area. Oh my god, I love this dungeon. Oh yeah, and I forgot about the ice cavern. It's cool. Get it? Cool. Hardy. Coming in at the silver place spot, we got the Forest Temple at number 2, a fan favorite by many. Some people say it's the best damn temple in the entire series, and I wouldn't go that far. But my favorite temple in the entire series is Arbiter's Ground from Twilight Princess, and that kind of builds off the Forest Temple. So you know what? In a weird metaphorical, spiritual way, I guess the Forest Temple's at the top of my list too. And man, it's just so solid. It's fun. It's cool. The atmosphere, everything about this dungeon is just fucking great. But there is one problem, and y'all might know where I'm going with this. That little freaky, rinky-dinky, stinky pinky, Twinkie key at the start of that goddamn tree, where if you miss the vines climbing up to go get it, your progress in this dungeon is just fucked. You're gonna constantly be thinking you missed a small key somewhere inside the dungeon, because the first room of this dungeon doesn't even take place in the dungeon. It takes place outside the dungeon, so you don't even really think of that as part of the dungeon. But it is. Oh, that small key is up there. You get distracted by fighting them little stupid little dogs and little wolves, and then now you miss that small key for the rest of the goddamn dungeon. I don't understand how y'all can hate on the water temple for its small key problem, but then let Forest Temple slide. I don't know what's going on there. I think there's some sort of bias showing. I don't know. Seems kind of sketchy to me. But apart from that, this dungeon is great. So many different rooms, so many different puzzles. You got like this is when you get the bow, so you start getting the bow and arrow puzzles. You got that one like the checkered floor room where the fucking ceiling starts trying to kill you. That room feels so out of place, but it's pretty memorable and it feels really weird. I'm not a huge fan of the block pushing puzzles, but the first block pushing puzzle, you only got to do once. It's pretty easy to figure out. It's just kind of time consuming, but once you figure out where to go, you just push the blocks in place, and then they're just there for the rest of the dungeon. And then the other block pushing puzzle is you got to put like a puzzle together. I feel like the time limit on that is way too strict. I would like that part a lot more. If you gain just like an extra 15 seconds or something, like, god damn, that shit does not give you a whole lot of time to figure that out. But you got the room where you're spinning around the fire. You got to hit the eye with the fire arrow to burn the ice. That part's cool. You got the skeleton fights. You got plants trying to eat you. You got that creepy little sewer section down there, where you go get that key down there. You got the part where you like go on the castle wall. Well, it's not a castle. I guess it's like kind of like a mansion kind of thing. I don't know. You go on like the walls, on the outside sections of the walls. You start climbing around. Just the whole design. You even got a little bit of hookshot puzzles here and there because you just got the hookshot. So you use the hookshot a couple times too. That's pretty fun. The boss, Phantom Ganon's really cool. the atmosphere, like them hallways that twist, and then when you do the puzzle and they twist back to how they're supposed to be, that shit is so fucking cool. The music, while not my favorite, it kind of does get annoying after a while. It does fit the scenery very well, where it feels mysterious, and it feels weird, and it feels like a place that you shouldn't be, but it's not necessarily trying to scare you yet. It's just kind of trying like, okay, you're deep, lost in the lost woods. You're lost in this hidden mansion. It's not exactly the most threatening place, but you do have to be on edge. And that's kind of how I feel about the wall masters, or the hands, I think that's what they're called, that drop down to try to grab you. They're only in a few rooms here, but they're definitely memorable. They definitely make their presence known. And the way the whole room switches back, like it's not just the hallway you switch, but when you hit the switch, the whole fucking room contorts into a different way, and you have to keep contorting it back and forth to go different paths with keys. That's pretty cool. One puzzle I still don't really understand is that carousel puzzle once you take the elevator down to the boss key room. I just kind of kept whirly-birding it around until it eventually worked. I don't know. I mean, I didn't really figure it out. I just kept kind of trial and error until it eventually gave me the place I needed to go. So even on my second playthrough, I was like, yeah, I don't know. Just brute force this bitch. Fuck it. Why not? Hunting the pose is it does get a little bit repetitive, but, they're cool. I like the way that each one is a different color. I like the little painting mini game kind of puzzle where you got to shoot the one that it's at, but you can't get too close to it or else it'll teleport to a different one. That was cool. And then the final Poe sister, it's like a unique fight compared to the other three. And I just feel like the colors of their lanterns and their fire and their ghostly cloak contrast the samey kind of look of the temple, which was already looking cool. So getting that extra vibrant color in an already cool temple just adds to the atmosphere quite a bit. And I enjoyed this dungeon quite a bit. But coming in at the gold place spot, number 1, we got the Shadow Temple. And man, I slept so hard on the Shadow Temple my first playthrough, because my problem with the Shadow Temple was it's right after the Water Temple. And so the Water Temple was so complex. So when I got to the Shadow Temple, I did it relatively early. I didn't take that long because it was pretty linear. But the thing I didn't really understand was this temple was a lot more gameplay focused than puzzle focused. Like the puzzles were still there, but it was mostly about maneuvering around enemies, maneuvering around traps, maneuvering with the fucking winged boots, flying across gaps, using the lens of truth, pick up all the rubies, dodge like spinning fan blades around. Like it was so cool. The atmosphere is so incredible, and I was kind of disappointed because I was like, where are the puzzles? Where are the puzzles? Where are the puzzles? But I wasn't thinking about like the actual gameplay I was doing. And then once I did it a second time, I'm like, fuck, I'm flowing right through this dungeon. This feels buttery smooth. This feels good. I love the guillotine jumps, like I just mentioned. I love almost every room. I like the little mini game room where you got to throw the bombs in the spinning vases. That was really cool. That was really fun. I like the Redeads here. I like Dead Hand. He makes a return. And speaking of Dead Hand, so everybody talks about this, and I feel like I'm gonna get some hate from this. I feel like I'm gonna get some hate for this, but I gotta say it. Everybody talks about the Spirit Temple, how it's so cool, how you go back in time as Little Link to do something for the Spirit Temple as an adult. But I'm not going to lie to you. I think this temple did it better. I think this temple did it better with the bottom of the well. I'm going to say it. I think it did the young and the adult timeline merging thing. Like that mechanic. I feel like it did it better here when you go get the lens of truth from the bottom of the well. I mean, I just gotta say it. I feel like the whole identity of the Spirit Temple, oh, yeah, you turn into Little Link. It doesn't even matter because you already did that for the Shadow Temple and it was cooler here. So I don't even want to hear that, Spirit Temple fan. Shut your goddamn mouth. It is Shadow Temple season. And the atmosphere, how are you going to sit here and tell me that this don't have the best damn atmosphere in the entire Legend of Zelda series? The atmosphere here is impeccable. It's a hidden torture chamber. What are you talking? There's blood, there's torture racks, there's corpses, there's skulls everywhere. Like, god dang. And the boss of this dungeon, dude, if I knew Bongo Bongo, like if I knew what I was fighting when I fought Bongo Bongo, I would have been terrified. Like, I thought he was just some monster. No, this bro is a dangling severed corpse with his head cut off and his hands cut off. What the fuck? That is fucked up. And then you got the part with the ship where you take the ship and you fight the skeleton warriors, and then you got to blow up that rock over there to cause a bridge so you can get across the gap. Man, there's wind puzzles with the wind boots. Oh my god, well, not the wind boots, but with the feather boots. You got that cool little puzzle where you got to use the lens of truth to see which skull is real, point it at the real skull, and then it'll open up a little passageway for you. There's so many hidden routes that you always got to have the lens of truth out. There's so much hidden stuff all around that you don't even get to see until you have the lens of truth. It makes the dungeon item really useful, but it doesn't use that much mana, so it's not even really that big of a deal. It's almost like it's not even draining any mana if you're killing enemies fast enough. You got the hands that split into minier hands when you fight them. I really love this dungeon. The only part I remember getting like kinda really stuck at was the part where you had to use Din's fire on them wooden spike boards closing in on you. I still feel like that solution was a little silly, but I guess it makes sense. You use fire on wood, burn the wood, yeah, whatever. But no, everything about this dungeon, I definitely slept on it in my playthrough. This dungeon is awesome. It flows together so good. It's linear, yeah, but it's fun. It's the most gameplay-centric temple out of all of them. The atmosphere is fantastic. The music is scary. Like, the wallpapers and the doors and, like, them creepy-ass skull doors and paintings are so ominous and creepy. The way you enter this dungeon with Din's fire light up all the torches is the coolest dungeon entrance in the game. No contest. And just, I love everything about it. So, that's going to be the list. I hope you all enjoyed it. I want everyone to know who's watching this that you are important, you are valuable, and you are significant. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I did making it and ranking all these dungeons. I missed out on this game for a good portion of my life, and I'm glad to finally give it the respect that it deserves. And if you're wondering, in my series, I gave it a 7 out of 10, but I said after a repeat playthrough, I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10, and that was absolutely correct. After my repeat playthrough and after analyzing all these dungeons and gizmos and knickknacks and whip-whats, I would absolutely give this game an 8 out of 10. Maybe even an 8.5. I don't know. But I'm going to catch you guys next time for next week's video. If not, this is the drop-off. Take care.